PowerPoint, you can insert a variety of different predefined shapes to create diagrams. Once you've inserted a shape, you can customize it by changing its dimensions, style, or adding text to it. You might want to create diagrams in your different slides to help illustrate your ideas, and you can use the shapes to do this. To find the menu of shapes you can insert, you can either find them in the Drawing group of the Home tab, or you can click on the Insert tab and then click on the Shapes tool in the Illustrations group. A menu of different shapes and lines will open, and you can click on the shape or line you want to insert. I'm going to click on this rectangle. To insert the shape, hold your click, and then drag your cursor, and then lift your click. If you want to insert multiple shapes, you can do so directly from the drawing tools that will open in the Format tab. Go to the Insert Shapes group. You can either click on one of the shapes in the menu, or to find more, click on the More button. I'm going to select this arrow shape here, and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to hold my click, and drag my cursor, and then lift my click, and I'm going to add one more shape. I'm going to click on the rectangle I recently used, so I'm going to click on that, and then draw it in the same way. You may also notice red guidance lines and arrows appear to help you draw your different shapes, and make sure they're in alignment with the other shapes, for example. If you've inserted multiple shapes to create a diagram, such as I have, you might find it useful to be able to group the different shapes together. This is useful because it means that you can then edit the diagram and all the shapes in it simultaneously. So to do this, hold down the Shift key on your keyboard and select all the shapes you want to group. Then go to the Group tool in the Arranged group. Click and select Group from the menu. You'll then see the handles appear around the selected group. This means now that if I move my cursor over one of the edges, when you see the Move cursor that looks like 4 black arrows, you can click, hold your click, and then move your diagram as a whole and reposition it on your slide. And again, you can use the red guidance lines to help you. I'm just going to lift my click. You can also change the size of your entire diagram by using the different handles around it. I'm going to move my cursor over the top right handle, click, hold my click, and drag my cursor, and then lift my click to finish changing the dimensions of my diagram. You can also change the dimensions or move shapes within a group. You simply have to click on that shape to select it, and then you can use the handles and move cursor to move or resize the shape. So for example, I'm going to click, hold my click, and drag my cursor to make that shape smaller, and then I can move it by moving my cursor to one of its edges, clicking, holding the click, and then moving it, and now I'm going to click away. And I'm going to do the same thing with this shape here, so I'm going to make it smaller, and then I'm going to move it to be in line with the other shapes. So in this way, even if you've grouped shapes together, you can still modify individual elements within them. I'm just going to click away to remove the selection of my diagram. Another way to edit your diagram is by changing its style. To do this, I'm going to click on one of the shapes to select my group of shapes. To change the style, I'm going to go to the Shape Styles group. Here I can see different styles. Moving your cursor over a style will give you a preview of what that will look like, and you can find more by clicking on the More button. I'm going to select this style here, and having done so, I can see that it's been applied to my entire diagram. You can also insert text into diagrams by adding them to individual shapes. To add text to a shape, double-click in the center of it. You'll then see a flashing cursor, and you can type in your text. I'm going to do the same for this shape too. Once you've inserted text into one of your shapes, you can format the text by selecting it. And when you lift your click, the mini toolbar will open and you can modify the font. For example, I'm going to make this font bigger by clicking on the font size drop-down mini button. I'm going to increase it to 24. You could change the color, add effects, etc. I'm just going to click away, and I can see the text I've added and formatted in my diagram. If you've added shapes to a diagram that you want to then remove, you can do so by clicking on one of the shapes to select your diagram or group of shapes. Select the element you want to remove, then click on one of its edges, and then press the backspace key on your keyboard. And I can see that has deleted that shape from my diagram. If you want to delete an entire diagram or a group of shapes, select one of them, move your cursor over to the edge of the selected group, click on that, and then you can press the backspace key on your keyboard. and that will remove the entire group and diagram from your slide. So in this video, you've seen how to insert shapes to create diagrams in PowerPoint.